Tonight on Connecticut's news station, a weather watch alert. It's dry out now, but rain's on the way, and we're tracking what you can expect this weekend.
And the search is on for a suspect after a man is shot and killed outside a courthouse. The latest on the investigation. And a World War I monument damaged in a crash, and now police are searching for the driver involved. We're hearing from the city's mayor tonight.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Bridget Bjorlo. An update on a story we first brought you yesterday. We now know the identity of a 25-year-old man who was shot and killed outside the Waterberry courthouse in the middle of the day.
Police have identified that man as Jaron Chapman of Waterberry, but the search continues for the shooter. Fox
61's Julia LeBlanc spent the day speaking with detectives, and she has the story now.
We saw police officers parking and patrolling outside this courthouse all day long while detectives continue to sift through the surveillance video in search of the suspect.
Another young life taken, unfortunately, and it's tragic.
Al Morales, a man dedicated to helping those struggling with addiction in Waterberry, is reflecting on the death of 26-year-old Jaron Chapman. Police say he was shot and killed on State Street, just outside this courthouse, Thursday afternoon.
That's a tragic loss. I feel for the family.
Morales was 2 blocks away when he saw the police cars speed past him just before noon. Police say Chapman was leaving the building with loved ones after his own court appearance when someone on a motorcycle shot him and sped away.
We're working on getting more information on the motorcycle, on the suspect.
As for Chapman, Waterbury Police Lieutenant Ryan Bissett says he was known to them.
He did have quite an extensive criminal history and was attending court proceedings related to weapons and narcotics offenses.
His death marking the city's second homicide of the year as the police force reaches new heights in growth, hoping to cut down on crimes like this one.
The last several years we've saw, like many agencies, a reduction in our ranks, and we've put a lot of effort into telling our story and why people should join our department, and it's been very successful.
Lieutenant Bissett says the department boosted its recruitment campaign, attracting people from all over the country, including California and Florida. He adds Waterbury is a popular choice because they still have a pension while others don't, and a new contract, making it one of the highest paying departments in the state.
Most of that is attributed to us being a police department that offers a career opportunity, innovative training, technology, and the opportunity to work with some of the best police officers.
Lieutenant Bissett says right now they have 275 officers and hope to get to 300 by the end of the year. And while people like Morales are noticing the effort, they feel work needs to happen outside the police force.
They need some more stuff to do so they can stay out of trouble and be more active in the community.
Now, police say there is no threat to the public at this time, and they do believe Chapman may have been targeted, though they don't know why. We are in Waterbury. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And Julia, thank you. Turning to weather now, we are in a weather watch alert as we trade the sunshine for a whole lot of rain heading our way.
Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. And Rach, for those unlucky people who have to get out early on Saturday, it's sort of a winter drill, right? It's watch out for some slick spots and wear a really heavy coat.
Yeah, northwestern Connecticut, those in Litchfield County. If you live north and west of Hartford, so that includes Heartland, the hills of Burlington, it will be a slippery start to the day before temperatures climb, but for most of us it is just going to be some heavy rain, especially in the afternoon and evening, with 2 to as much as 4 inches coming down across the state. So obviously with those rainfall amounts, we're again opening up the door for flooding concerns, rivers, poor drainage areas, basements. I think everybody's kind of groaning, a collective groan across Connecticut. So a flood watch is in effect from the National Weather Service for that reason. Again, 2 to 3 inches for most of the state, but up to 4 in some of that heavier banding. And a winter weather advisory for the reasons that Brent and I were talking about earlier, with temperatures near or below freezing early early tomorrow, and that could result in a few slippery spots to start. For the radar right now, things are quiet, but look to the west. There could be a couple of snow showers or a few snowflakes as we head through the evening tonight. But notice there's not much more where that came from. It's really mostly the rain, and a lot of that will get here as we head towards daybreak tomorrow. So that rain developing, it comes down heavily through the day and ends heading into tomorrow night between 8 to 11. Your full forecast and Sunday improvement coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. We have new details tonight from the Inspector General on an officer-involved shooting that happened over a year ago in Milford. Officials have ruled the officer who fired his weapon was justified in the use of deadly force in that shooting. Now, back in January of 2023, police chased 27-year-old Nicholas Gambardella on I-95 South. At one point, Gambardella crashed his car and ran across the highway, forcing police officers to chase him into a grassy area off the interstate. The Inspector General says the officer fired his weapon 3 times but never hit Gambardella. Gambardella had a number of warrants out for his arrest and had a long criminal track record prior to this incident. And we now know the name of the person who was hit and killed on I-91 in Hartford earlier this week. Police say Omar Johnson was hit by a car traveling in the southbound lanes near exit 33. Johnson was pronounced dead on scene. The driver was not injured, and no one has been charged at this point.
A burglary at a vape shop has police in Cheshire investigating tonight. It happened overnight at the Fine Cigar and Vape shop on South Main Street. Investigators say 4 people forced their way into the store by breaking the glass on their front door. Police shared this photo from surveillance video with us. It shows the 4 masked suspects entering the door through that broken glass. They say the suspects were driving a Kia Optima that was reported stolen out of Hamden. Anyone with any information is asked to call the Cheshire Police Department.
Meriden police are looking for the driver responsible for crashing into a World War I memorial monument. Take a look here at what's left of the monument at the intersection of Broad and East Main Streets. Officers found debris they believe is from the evading vehicle at the scene, including part of the headlight believed to belong to a Ford F-150 pickup truck model from 2018 to 2020.
Me looking at those names on the ground, it was as though our veterans were laying there helpless, as I described it to our police chief. So to know that we are going to do everything in our power to not only find who it was that caused that damage, but to make sure we erect that in such honor the way we did 100 years ago is our mission at this point.
A witness told police the truck drove south on Broad Street toward Wallingford right after the crash. Anyone with information should call police.
And a call to help people making the transition to life after prison. State officials are asking for more funding to keep reentry welcome centers open.
Yeah, the programs help thousands of people go from prison back into the communities. Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is in Hartford with details.
Right now, reentry welcome centers like this one use money from COVID relief funds, which unfortunately are running out. That's why officials in support of these programs across the state are asking lawmakers for $3 million to help keep the programs up and running. Reentry welcome centers like this one here in Hartford are also located in New Haven, New London, New Britain, Waterberry, and Bridgeport. These centers work with people coming from incarceration to help them transition back into their communities. The program provides basic needs support, job readiness training, housing assistance, and behavioral health, mental health, and substance abuse programs. Officials say the program in Hartford alone has helped more than 1,500 people since 2018. All in all programs have helped more than 5,000 people. Without additional funding, supporters of the program say there may be no resources available for the people that need to navigate a release from prison. Hartford Mayor Runan Arulampalam says the program works to reduce crime from repeat offenders.
The difference in those 2 paths could be something as simple as housing. It could be something as simple as education or a job. If that's the case, shouldn't we as a community, as a society, do everything we can to make sure that everybody who's navigating that transition in the most difficult point in their life, coming out of the most difficult point in their life, has every resource they need to succeed?
Officials are hoping lawmakers will approve this $3 million in funding in the state's budget so they can keep these centers across the state up and running. In Hartford, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Lindsay, thank you very much. We are hours away from a partial government shutdown unless the Senate passes a spending bill by midnight. That is the deadline. If they don't, some operations, the Departments of Homeland Security, Defense, Education, and several others will be impacted. Fox's Rebecca Castor has the latest now from Washington.
Let's finish the job today. Let's avoid even a weekend shutdown. There is no reason to delay.
It's now up to the Senate to pass a spending bill by midnight and avoid a partial government shutdown.
These bipartisan, bicameral bills are the results of many months of hard work.
Congress can still work, but only when we come to the negotiating table in good faith and leave politics at the door.
But with some senators wanting to add amendments to the bill, it could take hours for it to pass. The House approved the $1.2 trillion package this morning, but Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson is not off the hook yet.
I think this speaker failed miserably today.
Some GOP lawmakers are angry the bill doesn't include more cuts on spending or stricter border security measures. And Georgia's Marjorie Taylor Greene has filed a motion to oust Johnson from the speakership.
We need a new speaker. This is not personal against Mike Johnson. He's a very good man, and I have respect for him as a person, but he is not doing the job. The proof is in the vote count.
Greene calls the motion a warning, but if she brings it to a vote with Republicans shrinking majority, they could lose the speaker seat to a Democrat. If the Senate doesn't pass the bill tonight, lawmakers are expected to work through the weekend to get the government funded. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
The Huskies kicking off their March Madness run in Brooklyn, New York today with a win, of course. The 1-seed UConn men defeating 16-seed Stetson at the Barclays Center earlier today. Fox 61 sports director Jonah Karp is in Brooklyn for the big game, and we'll have a recap coming up in sports.
Always nice to get off to a good start. I liked their chances against Stetson
They're
going
looking
in
good,
here. But,
yeah.